Hello and welcome to another Ourdadsstamps video. Having recorded videos on Tristan da Cunha and the Ascension Island recently, I thought I'd complete the trilogy by recording an episode about St Helena today. Like the other two, St Helena is a very remote island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and it is probably best known for being the last home of Napoleon Bonaparte after he was exiled in 1815. What I didn't realise until I started researching for this is that St Helena is the United Kingdom's second oldest overseas territory after Bermuda, and it was a very important stopover for ships from Europe and especially the UK on their way to Asia and back. The island is about 1,200 miles west of the mainland of Africa and about 2,500 miles east of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. It currently has a population of approximately 4,500 people, and until 1966 was an important producer of New Zealand flax, which was used for rope and string. With the decline of that industry, the population has steadily dropped since the 1980s, and as I said, is now round about 4,500 people. The first stamps of St Helena were issued in 1856, and they have a rather peculiar feature in that all the stamps are identical. They all feature a picture of Queen Victoria with St Helena at the top, and they all have the face value of sixpence. But what happened since 1863 was the stamps were issued in different colours for different amounts, with an overprint to tell you the actual value of the stamp. So for example, you get a sixpence stamp in the colour of lake with a 1 penny overprint to signify it's a penny stamp. And you get a sixpence yellow overprinted with 2 pence to signify it's a 2-pence stamp, and so on. And these values run from a penny up to a shilling, and then there's a 5-shilling orange as well. Fairly valued but not extortionate, and there are a few different types with different perforations and a couple of different watermarks to look out for. In 1890, these rather unusual stamps were replaced with the familiar Queen Victoria definitives, which run from a halfpenny up to 10pence and contain 7 different values. The catalogue value of these stamps is not too extortionate, to be honest, considering the age of the stamps. Mint, they're catalogued at £75 for the set and used at £130. But one thing to be wary of is that these and the stamps before them were cancelled with a violet diamond-shaped grill, as seen in this image. And these were remainders, they weren't actually used in postage, and therefore are not catalogued as used stamps and are worth considerably less, if anything at all. So be wary if you see St Helena stamps with a violet diamond-shaped grill on them. It means they were cancelled and not used in postage. One other word of warning as well, it's apparently quite easy to remove the purple cancellations, so they can be passed off as mint with no gum or maybe reused with other postmarks, so you have to be a bit careful with those stamps. In 1903, the country produced their first pictorial stamps, which feature a picture of Government House or the Wharf and an image of King Edward VII above. This set runs from a halfpenny up to 2 shillings, and once again is reasonably pricey but not extortionate, catalogued at £110 mint, £150 used. And the same design was used later on when King George V came to the throne. These are slightly more valuable, and also, like the others, the used value is much more than the mint value, so be wary of any fake cancellations for these. The whole set, which runs from a halfpenny to 3 shillings and contains 10 stamps, catalogue at £350 used and only £150 mint. It's a nice set but quite pricey. The same basic design was used again in 1922, but with the image of the badge of St Helena replacing the government house and wharf pictures. This is a popular set and can be had in multiple Crown CA watermark and multiple script CA watermark. The Crown CA watermarks are only a set of 5 which go from 4p up to £1, and they're much more valuable than the script CA watermark set, which contain 15 stamps going from a halfpenny up to 15 shillings. The multiple script set is catalogued at 425 mint and 750 U's. So once again, it's the U's values that attract a premium. Surprisingly, the King George V sets are much more valuable than the earlier sets, and another pictorial set was produced in 1934 to commemorate a century of British colonisation. These are a very attractive set, and several of them feature the images of 4 monarchs that have reigned during the colonisation of St Helena. That is William IV, Queen Victoria, Edward VII and George V. These are a set of 10 stamps running from a halfpenny to 10 shillings and catalogued at £425 mint, £475 used. The King George V pictorials produced in 1938 are quite a nice, affordable set. They run from a halfpenny up to 10 shillings and all have the same image of the badge of St Helena with George VI's image alongside it. The catalogue value for these is, as I said, quite affordable. Used, the set's £65 and mint around £140. So we're starting to get the mint stamps being more valuable now. But as I said, these are quite affordable and they look quite nice, so well worth looking at. The only variety amongst this set is the 8p, which can be had in sage green as well as olive green. Not a lot of difference in value, and unless you're really serious about collecting St Helena stamps, probably not worth getting both of them. The Queen Elizabeth pictorials in 1953 are not one of my favourites, I have to say. They do look quite nice, but they have an oval design with an image inside that gives the sort of effect of looking out through a window, I suppose, and an image of Queen Elizabeth alongside. Together they make an effective set, but I've seen better, put it that way. Again, they're not very expensive. Catalogue used is only £35 for the whole set of 13 stamps, which run from a halfpenny up to 10 shillings, and only £85 mint, so easily to get hold of. In 1961, they replaced this set with a much more modern looking set featuring fish and birds, and these run from a penny up to £1. Again, not particularly expensive to buy. The pound stamp is a little unusual in that it's much larger than the rest of the stamps and looks quite impressive, I think, but even the pound stamp is catalogued at just around £20, both mint and used, so not too difficult to get hold of. In 1968, they replaced this set with a new set which looked to me like pencil drawings. They feature a plant on the right in black and white with the Queen's head above, and then a coloured image from the island on the left-hand side. It's certainly very different. I haven't made up my mind whether I think this is a nice set or not, but it's certainly a different set and worth having a look. Very cheap to get hold of. £15 mint, £28 used as the catalogue value, and it contains 15 stamps running from a halfpenny to £1. In 1971, these were reprinted with decimal values using the same images. And one thing to be wary of is that the £1 value is the same image for both sets. So the only way to tell the two apart is really to have them side by side and look at the shades. Whereas you can see the decimal one is a lot darker shades and a deeper blues. As you can imagine, flora and fauna feature significantly on stamps from St Helena in the Queen Elizabeth period, particularly birds. St Helena has long been known for its high proportion of endemic birds. Much of the island has been identified by BirdLife International as being important for bird conservation, especially the St Helena plover, or wirebird as it is known locally. So there are a lot of stamps on birds. The set from 1993 is very vibrant and a nice set to collect, running from 1p up to £5. Catalogue value £28, mint £35 used, so not too expensive. And as I said, it does look quite nice. There have been many short sets produced in different series over the years that are worth looking into if you're a bird thematic collector. And a very nice set in 2015, which runs from 5p up to £5. And again, catalogue value is not very high, so for £28 you can buy them set complete mint. And I think it does look quite a nice set. Other ones to look out for: there's a very nice fish set in 2008, which runs from 5p up to £5. This is a little bit more expensive. Catalogue value is at £42 mint and £45 used. And there's also a mini sheet that goes with it that is catalogued at £48. The mini sheet features all the stamps in the set, so that's certainly one to look out for, but as I said, it's a little bit more expensive. There's also a nice set of wildflowers from 2003 that runs from 10p up to £5 again. And again, it's £42 mint, £45 used, so not cheap, but not that expensive either. And a nice addition to your collection. And of course, another thematic to look out for, like all the islands, is ships. And again, various stamps throughout Queen Elizabeth's reign features ships. And there's one in 1998, which is mostly ancient ships and galleons. It's a set of 12 stamps running from 10p up to £5. Reasonably valuable. The catalogue's at £50, both mint and used. But again, it's one of the many thematic things you can look into with St Helena stamps. A couple of other sets just to draw your attention to. In 1967, a set of stamps was produced to commemorate the 300th anniversary of the arrival of settlers after the Great Fire of London. These images relate to a theory that the early settlers of St Helena were many people who had lost their homes in the Great Fire of London from 1666. Now, this was actually shown to be a myth in 1999. So we have a set of stamps from 1967 which actually are depicting a lie, which I find quite amusing. But obviously at the time they didn't realise this and produced a set with images of the Great Fire on the stamps. Not an expensive set to buy at all, but an interesting story to go with them. Another set worth mentioning, and we mentioned them when we looked at the Tristan da Cunha Island, and it's following the volcano eruption. St Helena produced 4 stamps that were actually Tristan da Cunha's stamps overprinted with St Helena Tristan relief and various values. These were produced in 1961 and only went on sale for just over a week. They are 4 stamps and are very, very valuable. The 4 stamps mint catalogue at £8,000 and used at £3,500. As I said, they only went on sale for a week, so there are not many of them around, and you can understand why they are so valuable. But it's an interesting set, unlikely that most of us will get hold of them, but certainly one to keep your eye open for anyway. So there's plenty there for you to get your teeth into and to get you into St Helena stamps. As always, I cannot possibly cover all the sets and all the varieties there are within that country. I hope I've given you a flavour of it, and if there's other sets that you particularly like that I haven't mentioned, maybe give them a mention in the comments. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll be back again in a couple of weeks' time.